trust people. And so there's a ton of content out there right now. There's a ton of AI content out there right now. And the fact is that we know when, especially in that 50-year-old plus market, we know they do like to do their own research. They do like to learn for themselves. But whenever they get close to that buying stage, they want to talk to somebody. They
Mm-hmm.
always want to talk to somebody. And so that's where that is really critical. And the more that you can put out there those questions and those answers as they're researching, to be that person that they build trust with, and you haven't even met them yet, and they already begin to trust you because you provided them so much value and you answered questions without asking for anything in return.
And you said people trust people. And when we talk about different types of content that's out there, short form video is often like the most intimate you can get with your audience. I mean, oftentimes you're having a conversation that's
Mhm.
close with whoever's on your screen, as opposed to coming across a graphic on social media or perhaps getting a general email. These are very it can feel very personal just because of the proximity and how we consume this type of video. So it's just another level of how you can be building trust over your competition. Now, let's paint a picture here for the agent or advisor who commits to this. As we mentioned before, the hardest part is just getting started. So, if you actually stick with it, what does the horizon look like 6 months from now to someone who does it consistently?
Well, you have to be following the analytics. You have to see what is resonating with your audience. So as you're producing those pieces of content, it's actually checking to see how they're performing. See what the impressions look like. How many people was it delivered to?
Hmm.
For those that you did get likes or comments or shares or even saves to their message, saves to their phone, pay attention to those type of things. If you do it the right way, you should see that your impression share is growing over that 6-month period. If you're doing it consistently also. So it's not just going out there and putting out one short form video and then waiting 6 months and saying, oh, how did it do? It's consistently being able to put yourself out there, create 2 or 3 shorts a week, get them out there and answer and provide as much value as you can. If you're providing value, it is going to resonate and people are going to want to, to keep following along to learn more if you're giving the value that they're looking for.
And you need a large enough sample size in order for that
Absolutely.
data and analytics that you mentioned to matter. But if you're not posting consistently across a 6 month period, then you're not giving yourself a large enough sample size theoretically to be able to make strategic decisions. So, another reason why being consistent matters here is so that you have reliable data to be able to make tweaks to perhaps how you intro
Mhm.
your videos. We know that 2 to 3 seconds is all you have to capture somebody's attention when they're scrolling through their feed, but you don't necessarily know where to make those tweaks in your content if you don't have the data. Another very valuable piece of analytics that you can be looking for is your average view retention, or excuse me, your average view duration. In other words, your retention. Where are people dropping off on your video? That's where you want to be putting some strategy behind it and perhaps change your content strategy a little bit.
Yeah, I'll pick up just real quick. I was reading an article, I think last week or the week before. I think Bill DeCourcy sent it to me, and it was about the short form videos, and it was about skipping introductions in them. So, and I personally have a huge problem with this. Every video I create, I always want to say, "Hey, I'm Jo Barker," and it's getting to the point where you have to stop doing that, and I have to break that habit of doing that and realize people don't care who I am. I mean, they
Mhm.
just want whatever information that it is that, if they're interested in the topics that I'm talking about. And so I've got to be able to jump right in and say, here's a fun fact for you about short form video. This is what you need to do. And that when you jump right into there, you're holding them that much longer and they want to be able to stay along and get that answer.
Fantastic point. We know that a massive amount of reach is the opportunity. That is what is available to you. And the only thing standing between where you are right now and that picture that we just painted is knowing how to get started. All right, Joe, the other thing that I hear about all the time, I know you do too, is that I don't know what to say. I don't know what my audience is going to want to listen to. And honestly, it's a lot easier than people think. What would you tell people who ask that question?
Pay attention to the questions that people are asking you or the comments that they make to you. Those make the best pieces of content. So I'll give an example, and I think I've given this one before, is we were in a conversation in a meeting with a agent, and I mentioned the word attribution. And you could tell they weren't really following, and then they finally just asked. They're like, "Joe, I have no idea what attribution means." And so it was breaking down what we meant when we were saying the attribution model. And then as we kept talking and other, you lead into words like CPL or CPA, and then they're like, "What do those mean?"
Yeah.
And so really just starting with the basics of the terms and what they mean. So if you're in annuities and you want to talk about a fixed annuity, it's just explaining what it is. So it's taking those basic questions and just creating quick shorts out of it. Hey, if you're wondering what this means, here's the answer. By the way, next up I'm going to be talking about this in my next example. So don't overthink it. It can be the basic questions. It can be a quick intro about who you are, and then you do the next one about a day in the life if you want to. You can do another one about the frequently asked questions that you get. You can do another one about why you got into this industry. You can do one about a term that a lot of people get confused by and what it means in your industry. You can answer those questions about if you're in Medicare of when should you start looking at your options of Medicare. Those are all very basic, very easy things to be able to create videos on. And so if you can start out by creating videos that you know so well the content of, especially your history and stuff like that, it's just going to get easier and easier, because then you're going to get more comfortable in front of the camera, and you're not going to feel as intimidated,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be able to produce. You'll be amazed how much content you can produce and how quickly you can do it.
And once you get started, it starts snowballing. You gain some momentum, and things will start happening more naturally for you. We also have a great podcast up right now, all about evergreen content. It gets into a lot of what you just discussed of how to leverage content that has a long shelf life, so you continue to get discovered time and time again. Short form video is another type of content that will help you get discovered time and time again.
One thing I will tease is later on, we are going to be shortly, actually, we're going to be launching our LMS, which is the
Yeah.
learning management
Yes.
system. So if you're a part of AmeriLife or AmeriLife's family of companies or associated with any of them, you're going to get access to this LMS to be able to go in there and learn. One of the things that we're going to be sharing is a tool that we use that helps us create those shorts. And we're actually going to show you how we take one long form piece of content and how we can get 30 shorts out of it by utilizing one tool. So that's something that we're going to dive into deep within the LMS, and definitely is going to be a huge value add. And that's the point of what we do, is to show people exactly how we do it.
Yeah.
And there's a great tool out there to utilize that will create all of them for you, including the captions and everything.
Great final point to end on. All right, Joe, before we wrap, I do want to plant a seed for our audience today, because we've been talking about the simplest version of all of this, just you and a camera. But there's a whole world beyond this that we could talk about. And creators have additional tools and formats for short form video, like voiceovers, text on screen, green screen. Without going too deep, the possibilities are endless once you just get started. So let's bring this home now. We know short form video is the most powerful trust building tool and discovery tool available to agents and advisors right now. The equipment is affordable, the format is simple, and the knowledge is already in your head. So don't delay. The time is now. Your competition is hesitating. Don't let that be you. This is how you start to differentiate yourself. Joe, we have many more podcast episodes to come, so be sure to stick around with the AmeriLife Marketing Mentors, and we'll see you next time.